I'm so sorry. Yeah, we can start. Sure. You're welcome. Um, Thank you very much for letting me know that young adults can figure out what they want to do in life. So that's very helpful. Um, as a young adult, we always look for a career option that is very inspirational, I guess, because that's what being young is all about. कि हमें कहाँ से कुछ ऐसा करने को मिले जिससे कि कुछ बदलाव आ जाए, कुछ चेंज आ जाए, है ना? या कुछ अच्छा हो दुनिया में. Or we want to achieve scale great heights, because that is what being young is all about. It's being full of energy. So as a young adult, there was a story that very much inspired me. I'll tell you that story. The story is of ancient India. So ancient India, when we talk of ancient India, the general narrative is about people being holy and kingdoms like that. So there was a king who had a very beautiful and qualified daughter, and the king wanted the daughter to get married. But he wanted his daughter to have a very qualified husband. So he decided to, he came up with an idea. So he invited all learned people for a meeting. This was kind of a public meeting. And he said that he wanted to discuss a matter of utmost importance, paramount importance. बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण कुछ विषय है, उसके ऊपर जितने भी बुद्धिमान या बुद्धिजीवी लोग हैं, सब आ जाएं इस सभा में. So the king had called for a meeting, and it was of utmost importance. So people from all sects and all strata of society had come there. So उस समय, from let us call those as ancient times, the most literate and qualified people were generally educators. They were motives, or let us say people who could were motivational speakers, but they were called by different names. They were called as acharyas, they were called as sadhus, they were called as saints, they were called as sannyasis, they were called as brahmanas, like that. So the king, he had this meeting place set up, and he offered seats to people according to their credibility, according to their qualification. So everyone had to bring in their certificates, and they submitted the certificates. And those who were very highly qualified, they got the front rows, the front seats. Now, a very thoughtful, thief also wanted to be a part of this. He thought that if the king has set up something, this is a good opportunity. Maybe there'll be so many opportunities available to do my thing. So the thief comes in to that meeting, And the thief sees that people have been seated according to their qualifications. So the thief did not have any certificates. So what the thief did was, the, the thief managed to get or forge a few certificates right then. I think he had a portable printer, or photoshopping आता तो thief को शायद. Anyways, he managed to get a few certificates done by the dexterity of his trade. He knew his art. किसी के बैग में से कुछ निकाल कर. However, he could not get the front row seats. So the front row was occupied by people who were very, very literate and at the same time very renounced. At that point of time in India, ancient India, renunciation was a part of the culture. It was considered to be a very, very sought after attribute. Renunciation, tyag. So the front row was occupied by the tyagis. The second row was occupied by the sannyasis. The third row was occupied by the teachers, who were called as the brahmanas. So he found himself to be qualified somehow or the other. If he placed himself in the fourth row. So the king comes up on stage and he says, he makes the announcement that I've called all of you here because I'm looking for an eligible husband for my daughter, the princess, and anyone who gets married to my daughter would get half the kingdom. तो पहले रो के जो त्यागी लोग थे ना, the first row of renunciates, they simply got up and walked away. They said, we are not interested in this. We thought there would be something very very much important to be discussed. So we are not interested. They got up and walked away. So the thief, he considered that since I'm in the fourth row, my chances are like 25%. But now he sees the first row being emptied out. So he thinks now my chances of getting the princess have increased. My probability or permutations and has improved. The second row of sannyasis, they said, we are also not interested in getting married. We kind of are happy being sannyasis. So we are also leaving the meeting. So wo bhi utkar chale gaye. The third row of the brahmanas who were already married and they had children or they were well established in family life, they said, well, we are interested in knowledge and we thought something, there would be, the topic of discussion would be related to affairs of administration or knowledge or discussions about let's say different streams of knowledge, and none of that is happening, so we are not interested. So every row that was getting emptied was making the thief more hopeful. So तीसरा row भी जब खाली हो गया, the third row also was emptied out. The thief was so excited. My chance has come. And then the king looked at the thief who was all dressed up and he had managed to be presentable, and he said, will you marry my daughter? And the thief said, no, I'm not. And the thief himself was surprised why he was not. क्योंकि वो वहां पर आया था किसी और intention से. So the king was getting a little melancholic, a little bit dejected. So the king asked him, why are you not wanting to get married to my daughter? And why don't you want half the kingdom? And this thief said that, well, I had come here with this intention that I want to, I'm a thief by profession. So I had come here with the intention to make money or to seek opportunities where I can, make a lot of money. But when I came here and I saw that I was in the fourth row, I wasn't very hopeful, but I still stayed. And then I saw each of these rows getting emptied out, and all these people who were in these rows, they were not at all distracted by what you had offered. So I may be a thief, but I have some intelligence. If these people are not interested in the kingdom, and there must be something better that they have. So I also have a reputation. I should always I should always have something that is the best. And the thief goes after all of these great teachers or educated people, and he inquires from them, and then he realizes that he has to be a seeker, and he becomes a seeker too. So this is the story of hundreds and thousands of people since time immemorial, especially in India. People get inspired to follow spiritual life and be a seeker, full-time seeker. And I feel fortunate to be one amongst them in this lifetime. And hopefully I would be able to do justice to what I've learned from all the great teachers from our tradition. ठीक है? It did, yes. Oh, wow. So I was very fortunate to have all the opportunities to receive good education, as we know of what is called as good education. So I feel very fortunate to have good teachers and a good environment at home, supporting family, a very vibrant atmosphere at the schools and colleges that I attended. So all of that uh, helped me grow into a very intuitive person, along with my along with my colleagues too. So all of us, that is how I feel, that everyone was very intuitive, and a lot of us were very grateful for what we had received. So when I went through my education as a student of medicine, when I completed that, a very important lesson, or let's say mm, quote kind of, or teaching kind of struck me. Medicine is a place where you understand healing. What, how to heal, understand what helps things heal. So it's the place where healing is the principle. And healing means that you have to come from a place of disease. Now we would always call this disease, we would break up this word into dis-ease, when you're not very comfortable. That is what is a disease. So being unhealthy is where healing is needed. So this quote, which I find very inspiring, and I think that would summarize my answer, is that to stop attracting unhealthy situations in one's life. Generally, people become unhealthy because they have a lot of distractions in life. It is either what they eat, who they associate with. The body and the mind becomes affected. So to stop being attracted by unhealthy situations in life, one must heal the parts within oneself that once needed those unhealthy situations. I think that's a very inspirational quote, isn't it? Yes. So my lifestyle is of a monk, but people should understand that a monk is basically a seeker and always a seeker. A monk never stops seeking, and seeking is about healing. So if we find those aspects of our life which attracts unhealthy situations, and we heal those aspects of our own life, then we are the best seekers. Okay. Uh, yeah, that's it. Gaurav, it's very interesting how people kind of put it like that, isn't it? I, I would be. I think my take on it is, and I hope others may also kind of agree with it, is that a healer is simply a healer. It doesn't really matter whether it's of the body or the spirit, isn't it? But specifically healing of the, if the spirit needs healing, that is uh, we could there could be a hierarchy there, that healing the spirit is essential along with healing of the body. So that could be essential. Yeah. Yes. Wonderful. Uh, to answer that, I would like to again offer some advice from the ancient times, and that could be quite revealing to this advice. It is the advice given to all seekers. So we have so many ancient quotations that act as your guiding light. So one of those ancient teachings is that to be a real seeker of the truth, it is necessary at least once in your life that you doubt as far as possible all things. Yes. So unless and until we have a healthy doubt at least once in our life, a healthy doubt, a rational doubt, then typically it would be difficult uh, to find the path towards the truth. Yeah. So my inspiration is this teaching from the scriptures, from the ancient texts that we have, that one must learn to be very inquisitive. And when one is inquisitive, then one is focused. I, I I was in Vrindavan. Vrindavan is one of those holy temple towns. It has been typically, I guess, those who have heard of Vrindavan, they would think that it is a very devotional town. Others may think that it is an ancient town and they're not interested in it. Those who have grown up hearing the urban narrative that um, being spiritual is one of the impediments to material progress. So Vrindavan has different connotations for different people. But I, when I had gone to Vrindavan as a young man, at that time Vrindavan was just a small bustling town. You know? Practically, I would find myself. This was in the early 90s. Like most of you may not have been born even then, I guess. It's the young viewers here. So the early 90s. That was when I was in my early 20s or mid 20s. So I was just in this uh, open field. It was just it was what is called as a typical kunja in Vrindavan. It was like um, there were orchards or trees around, and there was the mud. Practically not many people. Um, and that is where I heard for the first time. I heard about the history of Vrindavan in connection with the Mughal Emperor Akbar and one of his Navratnas, who was given the title of Mia Tansen. You would like to hear that story? It's a very interesting story, very inspiring. So this is the popular story in Vrindavan, and I found a person. There were like two people sitting there. There were sadhus, simple dress, and very peaceful and happy people. So I approached them as a young man, and I asked them that, is there a significance to this place where I was? And what is interesting is, if you go to Vrindavan, practically every 10 meters there is some significance to a place. Every 10 meters, it's very interesting thing. There's some history, there is some story, and a lot of it is connected to uh, the pastimes of Krishna, who is worshipped by many, including myself as a supreme lord, and many devotees over so many generations of Lord Krishna. So one such devotee is Swami Haridas. I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but this person, if you've been to Vrindavan and if you know about the famous temple of Banke Bihari, then this deity of Banke Bihari was revealed to Swami Haridas. Swami Haridas was the person who found that deity. So he's very famous. I think the deity has become famous, but a lot of people don't know about Swami Haridas. Swami Haridas was also a very profound musician, very profound musician. He could sing beautifully. He had such a melodic voice, and he was very adept at music, very adept. So he had a student. This student was later on became famous as Mia Tansen. And the story is that Akbar one day was so moved by Tansen's music. If you've heard about this is history, so it cannot be considered to be mythology, right? This is not a myth. These are historical references, proper references. That he could sing in such a way that by his singing, the sound that he produced, his music could release the mysteries that were present in nature. For example, he could sing and he could make rain happen. Raga Megha Malhar. Hare Krishna.
मैं क्या करता हूँ उसमें बना जाता वो मेरे एक्चुअल मतलब उसमें ऑर्डर भी शीट वो शीट है बाकी ऑर्डर सैलरी वगैरह मतलब पूरा डाटा है उसमें अभिजीत भारत प्लीज
Is this all right now, Gauravi? Are we back online? Hare Krishna. So, is my I hope my portrait mode is okay. Okay. So yes. So Swami Haridas, no Tansen. It is said that he could also speak to animals. Now that could be a myth, maybe not, but there are so many stories. But about him being able to make rain appear, and make lamps burn by his music. These are historical facts. So the emperor was so much moved by his singing that he had tears in his eyes, and he said that you are blessed. You are so good. You are so perfect. You are the ultimate. And Tansen said, well, actually, I have imperfections, but there's someone I know who has no imperfections. And Akbar said, who's that? So at that point of time, they were in Fatehpur Sikri, just about maybe 40 kilometers from Vrindavan. So who is that? Said Akbar. And he said that is my teacher. So Akbar, being an emperor, he immediately wanted to meet the teacher. So he came all the way to Vrindavan. And he came to meet Swami Haridas. And that is the place where he met Swami Haridas. The great king was there. And Tansen also accompanied him. So Swami Haridas was very happy to see his student. He did not recognize the emperor. So Tansen had already forewarned the emperor that please, when we approach him, we have to approach him as ordinary people. So Akbar he had good etiquette, I guess. He knew that when you go to visit holy people, then this is the attitude, or this is the mood in which you should be approaching them. So he was agreeable to that. So they did not introduce he did not introduce him as the emperor. So Tansen, when he approached Swami Haridas, Haridas asked him about his well-being, and Tansen said, Guru Maharaj, I'm very happy. Gurudev, I'm doing good. So what brings you to Vrindavan? And he said, I came here so I could learn from you more. It's been quite a long time. And Swami Haridas said, no, you are very good. You have learned very nicely. And Tansen somehow or the other convinced him that he should sing, but Swami Haridas would not sing. Intuitively, he understood that this person that has come with him is has a different motive, sixth sense. So then Tansen said, all right, please let me make a presentation. I have composed a few ragas. And Tansen sang, and every time Tansen sang, he made sure that he made a mistake. And Haridas Swami would stop him and said, no, not like this. And Tansen would say, then how? This is how I know it. Finally, he convinced Swami Haridas to sing. And when Swami Haridas sang, the emperor fell down unconscious. And he had a surreal experience. It is said that at that point of time, Akbar had such an experience that he practically became completely detached from everything. And Swami Haridas, he stopped singing, then Akbar came back to his external consciousness. And then he realized that I am Akbar. Immediately he said, you have to come with me to Delhi. That is how, the mentality of people in this material world. Immediately they want to possess something great. And Swami Haridas said, thank you for the offer, but I'm very happy here in the dirt of Vrindavan. Vrindavan की धूली में हम बहुत आनंद से. The emperor actually offered him to be the CEO of the music company. He wanted to make records with him. And Swami Haridas said no. And that is very inspiring, because to be able to say no to allurements takes a lot. Yes. So what I realized was what you asked me about the question that you asked me is, what I realized is that it is not awakening of your inner being is not as important as being able to discard that which is not you. अपने अंदर के जो भी हुनर हैं, जो भी क्वालिटीज हैं, उन्हें जगाने के साथ साथ ज्यादा महत्वपूर्ण ये है कि जो अनावश्यक है उसे आप त्यागो. And that is why being able to say no is very important. That because that is not essential, that is not needed. And that has been my inspiration. So that is one of my inspirations. There are, मतलब किसी एक चीज को बोलना कि inspiration है, it's like every day there is some inspiration, isn't it? Otherwise life would be very dull. लेकिन आप लोग जो हो, you all are young adults, a lot of you, maybe who are there on this meeting. I felt that this came to my mind as being a young adult. That had a big impression on my consciousness. Being in Vrindavan as a young adult in my mid-20s, early 20s, I'd guess. I had just finished my graduation, and उस simple से जगह में जहाँ पर आसपास कोई नहीं है, it's just it was the Wild West in one case, like in the US you say the Wild West. ऐसा था वो. Something it is an entire zone for you to explore, and to find two people being happily discussing an ancient story is quite inspiration. और एक बताएं वृंदावन की बात, something very inspirational. This was a young boy. I was doing Govardhan Parikrama in Vrindavan. Govardhan Parikrama is like a 21-kilometer trek. ठीक है ना? तो generally as a young enthusiast for a lot of exercise and healthy activities, I wanted to do that parikrama in a certain amount of time. So I was timing myself. Or it's a long walk, so you start off being very, very fresh with a lot of energy. But after 5 kilometers, you realize that you have to pace yourself. So I wanted to do it under 4 hours, 21 kilometers under 4 hours. That was my target. And I wouldn't say whether I achieved it or not. That is not the point. I was doing the parikrama because I was so engrossed in timing myself. I never realized that I bumped into a little boy. And the boy said Babaji, because young little boys there call everyone Babaji there. Anyone who's doing parikrama, they think that they are just Babajis. And I was wearing dhoti kurta उस समय, तो वो भी saffron था, तो Babaji. इतनी जल्दी में कहा, व्हाट्स द हरी? गिरिराज आयो, परिक्रमा करे, आराम से करो। एंड मैंने कहा नहीं लाला, बस परिक्रमा कर रहे हैं। तो उन्होंने कहा बाबा जी दान कर दो। लिटिल बॉयज, have you ever experienced this as a little growing up as a child? I hope some of you have been through that. It is always it is a very, very happy and interesting moment to beg. किसी को भी जाकर बोलना कि एक लॉलीपॉप दे दो ना, एक टॉफी दे दो ना, एक it's very exciting to be able to beg. So this child was doing that. So I told him कि लाला एक काम करो, लाला means बेटा, हम मुंबई में रहते हैं, एक काम करते हैं, हम तुमको मुंबई लेकर जाएंगे, वहां पर तुमको जो चाहिए सब कुछ दे देंगे. What the child said was very interesting. He said, बाबा जी, आपको हम यहाँ पर रोटी दाल खिला देंगे, आप वृंदावन छोड़कर कहीं मत जाओ. So this young child has so much of faith and affection in the holy town of Vrindavan. I realized that that faith, that kind of faith, is not easily available. So since I was on the path where faith is very important, so that was very inspirational for me too. ठीक है? Okay. What do you mean by spirituality? I would say uh, we should kind of replace this word spirituality, which kind of seems unmotivational to many people. Being spiritual मतलब ऐसा लगता है कि भाई this is not very motivating. So let's use the word being a seeker. ऐसा लगता है कि हाँ, this is very interesting. So what is spirituality to me? It is being a seeker. So what does it mean being a seeker? And is it necessary to be a monk? So what is it being a seeker? Being a seeker means understanding this fact that you can only speak as much as you know. आप उतना ही बोल पाओगे जितना कि आपको समझ में आई, उससे ज्यादा तो नहीं बोल पाओगे ना. But you may always learn something new if you know how to listen. So spirituality for me basically means listen attentively. Be a very good listener and a learner. ठीक है? And so does one have to be a monk for that? When we say a monk, which basically means in India, typically a monk would mean a Buddhist monk or a Hindu monk, which could mean somebody who's renounced the world. है ना? मतलब वो पापा जॉन्स नहीं जाता है, पिज्जा, एटीएम यूज करना नहीं जानता है, सेलफोन नहीं होगा. अगर किसी मंक के पास सेलफोन हो गया तो हेडलाइंस बन जाता है वो. So typically that is the idea of a monk. है ना? So no, that is just the kind of lifestyle you feel comfortable with is your choice. Within that, to the extent that you learn how to listen attentively and understand knowledge, and every day you listen more than you speak. Every single moment you try to do that. Every single day you try to do that. Learn something new, assimilate it, and then speak about it. That would be a good seeker. That would be the principle of spirituality. कुछ तो ऐसा बताना चाहिए जो मिरेकल जैसा लगे, है ना? ठीक है. Let me tell you some one of the experiences that I had in my travels in the Himalayas. टिपिकली हिमालयस का मतलब अभी ऐसा लगता है कि कुल्लू मनाली, शिमला, है ना, गुलमार्ग, और वो थोड़ा सा अभी आजकल बंद हो गया है, धीरे धीरे खुल जाएगा. But that is the idea of Himalayas. For a sadhu, I had visited the Himalayas. I think it was in my late 20s. तो हमने पैदल यात्रा की थी. और if you have traveled to the interiors of our country, you know, the villages, then you know what traveling on foot means. It basically means that once you leave a village or a settlement, then for about 20 kilometers around you, you won't find another settlement. Now, in the Himalayas, that would mean you wouldn't find another settlement till you go to the next valley. To cross over one mountain, walk down, and you'd be lucky if in the next valley there is a settlement. So basically, it is a life of simplicity. Just trekking in the Himalayas like that is a life of simplicity and dependence on God, and dependence on material nature, depending on that. So anyways, ठीक है, ज़्यादा serious नहीं करते हैं इसको. So on one of my travels there, we had to go to this holy place, which was at a very high altitude. I think it was at an altitude of at least 3,000 feet, and we had to trek all the way up. So it took us about 4 or 5 hours of trekking. So Gupt Prayag se we went to another place which is called as Hanuman Dhara, and there are many Hanuman Dharas in the Himalayas. So every valley has got a Hanuman Dhara. So we went to Hanuman Dhara, and from there we had to trek for 5 kilometers. Oh, sorry, 5 hours. I'm not sure. Maybe it was 14, 15 kilometers. Gupta Kashi, sorry, not Gupta Prayag, it is called as Gupta Kashi. Gupta Kashi is, I think, at somewhere about 2,000, the altitude is about 2,000 feet above mean sea level, MSR. So this was 3,300 feet above that. So the oxygen, the atmosphere becomes quite rare. So you can feel the freshness of the atmosphere. At the same time, you breathe heavily. तो थकते थकते हम लोग पहुंचे वहां पर. By the time we reached there, it was late in the evening. So this is the place where Lord Ganesh he performed tapasya. हमको जाना था वहां पर कि भाई. और very interesting thing पता है क्या है हिमालयस में, कि एक चोटी पर वो तपस्या करते हैं और दूसरी चोटी पर वो on one peak तपस्या करते हैं, and on another peak you find that he has interacted in some other way, met Mother Parvati or something like that. So maybe for him it is just taking a jump across the valley. For us it is like going down into the valley and going up the slope again. It takes an entire day. तो आसपास और कुछ नहीं है, यही है बस. There's only this pond and the Himalayan peaks around you. It's at this high elevation, and this pond trickles into a river which flows down the mountain and becomes one of the streams that joins the Ganga. So when we reached there, we realized that having trekked throughout the day, and I was with another colleague, there were 2 of us, having trekked throughout the day, we had absolutely no idea where we were going to get dinner. And throughout the day, all we had to eat was 2 rotis. and we had walked. When you trek, you travel light as you can. You only take something that is essential, like a water bottle to fill up with water, and uh, sufficient warm clothes. So our idea was 14 kilometers. Now sometimes 14, 15 kilometers, I think. So we were hoping that we could come down by late evening, like let's say about 8 or 9 o'clock. We could come down again to a village that was there in the foothills. We couldn't make it. By the time we reached, it was 8 o'clock. It was dark. This is in the summer. So where are we going to eat? So ab kya kare? When you are in extreme need and you feel completely helpless, you remember somebody who can help you, somebody who lives in the sky. है कि नहीं? Sky में कोई रहता होगा, आसमान में. So we said, Ganesh ji, भाई कहीं से आपके लड्डू मिल जाए तो अच्छा हो जाएगा. We are not asking for anything else. लेकिन you like laddus, so आपके लड्डू अगर मिल जाए ना, because we are so hungry and tired and thirsty, and it's dark and we have no idea. We are in the wild and raat mein in the Himalayas. It's very, the silence terrifies you. Even as a sadhu, you may have a very, very strong mind, but the silence is terrifying. तो कहीं पर डर भी था कि भाई क्या होगा, अकेले वहां पर हैं, कुछ हो भी जाएगा तो पता नहीं. We had no idea if anyone even visits that place. It would be that next summer the army found you or something like that. So it was, well, we prayed to Lord Ganesh. We reached at 8 o'clock. Or achanak in the distance, in the dark, as we were reaching this place, we heard the sound of music. और पता है पहला थॉट ये आया कि कहीं गंधर्व लोग तो नहीं पहुंच गए हम लोग. You know, you hear all the stories about Gandharvas and they stay in the Himalayas. So we reach there and we see lanterns and about a small crowd, about 30, 40 people. So we walk into this crowd. They are all very happy. They are having a festival. So we ask someone, what is happening? And they say, this is a yearly festival that happens here. Once a year, they do that festival there. Now, we were not very sure whether, what we were very much interested in is whether they had food. But we are not sure whether they would have the food according to our requirements. क्योंकि हमारे कुछ requirements हैं ना, we have certain restrictions. So, should we ask them? Should we not? थोड़ा सा, there was this hesitation. So, one lady, a very, very effulgent lady, ऐसा लग रहा था कि she had this bright light within her. She came to us and she said, you must be hungry. Now later on, with my scientific training, I thought that I rationalized it later on. She is from the village downhill. She knows that this is a long trek. She knows that we are visitors, foreigners. So she must have 2 + 2 का जोड़ दिया होगा ना, 2 और 2 4 होते हैं, 5 होते हैं, जो भी है. She must have realized that. That is my rational mind later on. At that point of time, it was as if she was a goddess. देवी दर्शन दे रही है. कुछ खाने के लिए है, खाना चाहिए. And we are like, yes. And I was wondering, is this the typical approach of people in the villages in India and remote places, that they immediately ask you whether you would like to have some food? Or was it a miracle. I still haven't ever been able to figure that out. We said yes. So she said, yeah, we have a festival. You can take something. And thoda hesitatingly, we said that, is it possible that we can just have plain khichdi? And she looked at us like, अरे क्या बात है मतलब डिमांड भी कर रहे हो आप like this is not a hotel where you say that do you have khichdi on your menu, and they immediately made khichdi for us, so tasty. Sir, there was only dal, there was only rice, and there was only salt, no haldi, no other spices. The best khichdi that I've ever had. So we went into the lake, Ganesh Kund hai wo, and we took bath in the icy water at around 8:30. I mean, we were shivering, but that is one of the things that you do as a sadhu. We dried ourselves. We got so tired, hungry, and after this icy cold water bath, we were ready for hot khichdi. वो hot khichdi khaya हमने, and as soon as the stomach was full, the next thing that hit us was sleep. आंख बंद होने लगी. Like we are so tired, our eyes are just falling shut, and we just lay down there in the open. All the fear कि creepy crawlies होंगे वहां पर, all this you know concern of being in the wild there, or with being with unknown people, all of that went away. Why? Not because we were completely peaceful. It was just because the stomach was full. नींद आ गई. What I remember of that sleep was that it felt as if I was dreaming. I am not sure whether I was half asleep, half awake, whatever it was. What I remember is suddenly I found myself walking amongst those people. We found a quiet place to sleep, lay down. They were at some distance. And it seemed that they were chanting what later on, or chanting what was very, very dear to me, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And they were singing that in a very special tune, very, very melodious. It seemed very heavenly what they were singing. And around, it went on for some time. I never realized how much time passed. I woke up, looked at my watch. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. Looked around, there was no one there except me and my friend. Well, uh, I had enough spiritual experiences by then to realize that I should not waste time being amazed by this or surprised by this. We woke up, हमने अपना वहां पर, we did our japa, we took the blessings of Ganesh ji, thank you for giving us khichdi instead of laddu, and walked all the way down. So I never tried to figure out what it was, but it is still a mystery to me. How did we land up there on the day of the festival? Our needs were provided for, and me having that experience, being half awake amongst them, the very thing that I practice in my life, that being sung in the remote place in the Himalayas, the effulgent lady who I thought was really very goddess-like, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, just my friend and me and the Himalayan peaks, nothing else. Thank you. Oh, okay. Sure. Favorite book and author. My favorite author is Vyasadeva. Have you heard of him? Yes. Um, uh, for me, it would be, I think I wouldn't be really truthful if I say I have a favorite author, but since I guess uh, these are the questions that typically get asked, so I have to kind of say something. So Vyasadeva, and my favorite book is the Vyasadev's writing, so you could call it the Vedas. Wow. Two words is all right. Respectful inquiry. Uh, would you want me to? Maybe I should elaborate on it if it is allowed, just briefly. See, inquiry means doubt. You should be able to express. You should be able to be doubtful and express that doubt. But sometimes being doubtful could also be looked upon as being arrogant. Now, if there is arrogance in being doubtful, then we close ourselves to uh, different forms of information. We only narrow down ourselves to certain forms of information. So being respectful helps you being open to all the answers that one may receive when we express our doubt. So for me, in one word, Bhagavad Gita, or two words, is respectful inquiry. Oh, seek. I think being a seeker would be a good quality for you to have. Oh, every time I read the Mahabharata, whatever I'm reading, I kind of like that character. To choose one, I would say Kunti, Queen Kunti. She's the most underrated character in the Mahabharata in the present times. But to me, her character is very, very powerful, very powerful. This shall pass. This shall also pass. Yeah. In the Bhagavad Gita, from the Gita, it would be Krishna says, Kalosmi lokakshekrit pravriddho. I destroy everything. So even this pandemic, he'll destroy. It will go, it shall go away. It shall also pass. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hare Krishna. For all our viewers who have joined me on Facebook and YouTube, uh, I hope you could hear the questions that were being asked. Um, so I was on a Zoom call. The link had been sent to me, so I could not really share that with you on Facebook or YouTube. So I'm sorry. It was just me with my monologue, I guess. I'll try and see if I can share the link of this interview on Facebook or and YouTube also. I hope all of you had a wonderful time. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.